Like I can put on my deadlift suit and have it welded over my shoulders, but I could still sit down in my hangers.
Okay.
Like, so I could still like squat down to the ground with my deadlift suit on. So I keep my bar placement the same.
Okay.
Just right where the shoelaces of my foot are, or my shoe are, is usually where I place the bar and have my knees a wee bit over it, and then just worry about keeping my hands close and getting myself locked down and my chest pushed up and kind of looking forward and up a wee bit, and then just all I think about is keep everything tight and then make sure that you're in the right place, because realistically it's biomechanics. Like if you can be as mechanically perfect as possible and take the slack out of the bar and be as tight as possible and lift like that as perfect as possible as many times as you can, the chances of hitting your PR is obviously far greater than some of these guys that go in with a lot of aggression and pull the bar. And I always set up pretty slow. So like I'm usually stood up straight and then I drop my ass down and set myself up and then pull. And before that, I'm usually thinking about all the things I need to do, which is just like my bar's in the right place, my hands is locked down, my triceps is tight, my chest is up, everyone's down, and then it's like a couple of big breaths, breathe into your belt, go down, and then just as soon as you go down, make sure the slack's out and just stand up.
Right. When you go down to the bar, do you initiate with like a knee bend, and then once your shins touch the bar, then you start dropping the hips?
Yeah, I would. Well, I got them push my shins into the bar a wee bit first, step out from it, and I kind of straight stiff leg and bend over to get the bar.
Okay.
And then when I hold on to the bar, then I drop my hips down because it's like my hamstrings are lengthened. Then I drop down.
Yeah.
So it's I kind of feel like it's like preloading my hamstrings.
Right.
So keeping my legs sort of straight and then dropping my ass down to the bar and pulling the slack out of it.
Yeah, your first you break inertia with the bar, get off the ground. Are you thinking about just driving legs, or is there a simultaneous drive the legs and pulling back motion? Like what works for you?
Well, I do think keep my chest up through my arms, and then just pull, keep tight and pull. I don't think of like, obviously you don't ever want your weight to be in your toes, but I'm never thinking keep my weight I'm just thinking pull the slack out of the bar and keep my chest up, which means I'm pulling back anyhow. And the only other thing I think once it gets up is like push my hips forward as soon as it gets past my knees.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing all lower back pulling. I'm actually using my hips to drive into the bar as well. But if I had to steal somebody's saying, it would probably be like Michael Chandler's, because a lot of times I've been like deadlifting and be like, when I get strapped in and stuff, I'm like, right, motherfucker, you can lift any weight that's on it. See you at the top. just pull.
Right.
So I know Louie used to try and find out what annoyed me and stuff. I don't actually think of anything. I just think if biomechanically you can set up as close to perfect as possible and you're strong enough, you'll be able to lift it.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously technique's a big part of it. So if you can have pretty good technique and you're strong enough, your chances of lifting it has to be increased greatly.
Yeah.
So,
do you tell people and yourself to flex your triceps, like lock your triceps down to keep your arms straight to prevent any more bicep issues?
Yeah, because I've only got one left.
Gotta keep it. Okay. So that's not okay.
No, well, just because obviously when I coach people, I always tell them like deadlifting is like watching somebody lift something with a crane. So like when you go to lift a pallet of blocks with a crane, whether it be like slings that's on it or chains that's on it, the crane takes the slack out of the load. And if the load is over here and the crane wire is coming down that way, when it takes the slack out of it, it'll move it across to the optimal position to lift it, which is in a straight line.
Straight line, yeah.
But you'll never see a crane lifting it with one of the slings or with slack in it. So the slack is always out of it. So to me, if your arms were chains lifting blocks, they would have to be locked out and straight before you make the lift, because that's the way a crane does it. And a crane lifts optimally and lifts a lot more than me or you.
Well, it goes back to your point of biomechanics too, and position.
Yeah.
I mean, I was always told like you flex the triceps because it elongates the arm. And then when you do that, it starts to cue the shoulder to pop down. And on the whole, I don't want to finish with the bar. I'm not doing a snatch. I'm doing a deadlift. So I want to finish the bar as low on my thighs as possible when my knees and my hips are locked out. So I don't want to do any more inches of motion with that.
No.
Do you ever have anyone who has...
It's like when you see the guys, and even some guys I coach, and you tell them to log out and push their hips through, and they push their hips through and push their chest up and lean back. And I'm like, man, you've put like 3 inches on a deadlift.
You don't need to.
Plus, it didn't do anything. I don't know what this leaning back and being like a backward banana does, but it doesn't make, like, keep your arms as long as you can keep them and down as much as, and make your range of motion as short as possible so it's as easy as possible. Yeah,
it's funny. I've worked with a lot of people. I've got a couple people collegiately, and then a lot of people in the world of CrossFit, and they all do the same thing. They like take the bar when they get to the top, they like do this hyper arch back. I'm like, dude, you're just making this range of motion much longer than it has to be, and you're crushing your spine.
Yeah, you already locked that out 3 inches ago.
Yeah, I mean, good for you, but
everybody likes it. Everybody likes an extra 3 inches, but hey,
everyone does.
Not in a deadlift, they don't.
No.
Not for depth in a squat. Like, why you squat 3 inches more than you have to, and why would you deadlift 3 inches more than you have to?
Right.
So
I mean, those people.
It doesn't build any. Well, squatting deeper will build more, but deadlifting deeper won't, or deadlifting and hyperextending yourself won't do anything for you.
No, you're just grinding down your synovial fluid. That's all you're doing. Those people you coach, do you have any issues with like activating their upper back and lats when they pull? And what do you do to fix that?
Well, because I do online coaching, sometimes like you have to just try and explain, which is, you kind of, if you were in the gym, you could push their fucking chest up a wee bit, but some of them are like muscle bound actually, and they're down like that, and they're like, I think it's my lower or my upper back, and I'm like, it's probably because you're that fucking tight.
Yeah.
That you probably need to do some work to loosen up your chest so you actually have mobility to push up through. And it's not that you're, because it's only in your setup you want everything to be up, but in their accessory work, because obviously I don't give them the exact workout I do because I'm pulling a lot heavier than people I coach.
Yeah.
But their accessory work is all like rows, pendlay rows, bent rows, chest supported dumbbell rows. Seal rows is brilliant if not every gym has the equipment to do it.
Yeah.
It's not hard to set up, but people like what they have on hand without having to set shit up. And seal rows and stuff, I think, is very good for hitting your back. So, but a lot of people's issues with getting into position is probably more to do with mobility and shit that they just don't have the patience to try and do it. Like anybody coach, nobody likes stripping back weight to try and get in a better position.
Right.
And you're like, yeah, but if you want to keep pulling 280 forever and hopefully by luck get 290 or 295, then keep your, like, don't drop the weight back and just do what you've been doing.
Right.
But the reason you came to me to get coached was because you wanted to lift more than 280. So